Your legs are getting weaker, but it's not just age. It's a hidden vascular threat to your brain. Can I ask you something a little personal? Have you ever stood up from a chair and felt like your legs just weren't there? Maybe they trembled. Maybe you had to push off with both hands. Or maybe you reached for the walker that you promised yourself you wouldn't need. It's easy to chalk it up to aging. It's just part of getting old. We tell ourselves, but what if I told you that what's really behind your weak legs might be something far more dangerous and far more preventable? As a neurologist with more than 30 years of experience caring for aging Americans, I've seen it too many times. What looks like simple muscle loss is sometimes the first sign of a silent crisis happening inside your blood vessels, especially in the small arteries that supply your brain. This isn't just about your legs. This is about your independence, your memory, and your ability to stay sharp, mobile, and in control of your life. In fact, a study from Harvard Medical School in 2022 found that reduced leg strength in seniors was strongly linked to higher risk of what they call small vessel brain disease. And that disease doesn't show up with pain. It shows up with falls, with confusion, with moments where you lose your train of thought mid-sentence. Have you ever had one of those? If you have, leave a comment below. Type the number 1 if you felt your legs giving way. Type 0 if not, and let's learn from each other today. Because this video isn't here to scare you. It's here to open a door. To show you 5 small changes proven by research that can protect your brain and your muscles, starting with your next breakfast. So stay with me, and more importantly, stay kind to your body. It's wiser than you think. Let's begin. Number 1, why weak legs could mean trouble for your brain, the vascular connection. Most doctors. Miss? Let me tell you about Margaret. She's 73 years old, lives alone, used to walk every morning just a mile around the neighborhood, but about 6 months ago, she started feeling a strange weakness in her thighs. No pain, just heaviness. Climbing stairs felt like hiking a mountain. So she stopped walking. Then came the forgetfulness. First it was names. Then she left the kettle on. Twice. One morning, she called her daughter and said, I opened the fridge and couldn't remember what I was looking for. Margaret thought it was just old age, but when she came into my clinic, we ran some tests. Her memory tests were borderline. Her brain scan showed something called white matter hyperintensities, signs of damage in the tiny blood vessels deep inside the brain. And when we measured her muscle mass, it was down by almost 20% from just 2 years ago. That's when it hit her. The weakness in her legs wasn't separate from her brain. They were connected by something she'd never heard of before. Small vessel disease. Now here's the truth. Most people, even doctors, miss this link. But the science is very clear. Studies from the National Institute on Aging show that as blood vessels in the brain stiffen or get blocked, they limit oxygen. And when your brain doesn't get enough oxygen, it stops communicating with your muscles the way it used to. That's why you feel wobbly. That's why your legs give out. That's why you sometimes struggle to find the right word. And this goes both ways. If you stop using your legs, your body begins a process called disuse atrophy. Muscle fibers shrink. You lose strength. And your metabolism slows, which makes your blood sugar spike, which, in turn, damages those same brain vessels even more. It's a vicious cycle, and it starts with something as simple as walking less. So let me ask you, have you stopped doing something physical lately, even if it felt small, like walking to the mailbox, climbing the stairs instead of using the elevator. If that's you, you're not alone. But today is the day we stop the cycle. Leave a comment below. What's one activity you used to enjoy that you've slowly stopped doing? Just naming it is the first step toward reclaiming your strength. Let's keep going because your brain is listening to your legs. Number 2, the silent fire. How inflammation and stress are eating away at your muscles. In your mind, let's talk about something we rarely talk about, not blood pressure, not cholesterol, but inflammation. And not the kind you feel after twisting your ankle. I'm talking about the kind of inflammation you can't see. The one that simmers deep in your body like a silent fire. And if left unchecked, it can damage your brain, shrink your muscles, and accelerate aging in ways we're only just beginning to understand. Here's what I mean. In 2023, a report from the Journal of the American Geriatric Society revealed that chronic inflammation, measured by something called C-reactive protein, was strongly linked to both muscle loss and cognitive decline in adults over 65. The higher your inflammation markers, the faster your muscle cells broke down, and the more your memory slipped. It's like rust. You may not see it at first, but it's there quietly corroding your engine. Now, add to that another invisible toxin, chronic stress. You see? When your body stays in fight or flight mode, when you're constantly worried, anxious, or overwhelmed, your adrenal glands keep pumping out cortisol, the stress hormone. A little cortisol is helpful, but too much. For too long, it wears down your muscle fibers, it increases belly fat, it raises blood sugar, and worst of all, it weakens your brain's ability to repair itself. The National Institute of Mental Health calls this neuroinflammation, brain-based inflammation, linked to both Alzheimer's disease and vascular dementia. So no, that leg weakness, that forgetfulness, it's not just getting older. It could be inflammation and stress eating away at you one quiet day at a time. Let me ask you something hard. Have you been living with silent stress? Are you caring for a spouse, grieving someone, worrying about your health, or watching the news a little too much? If yes, you're not alone. One of my patients, Harold, 78 years old, cared for his wife with Parkinson's for 6 years. He didn't complain, but he stopped exercising. He ate irregularly. His sleep got worse. He lost 15 pounds, not fat, but muscle. And one day, he tripped over the edge of a rug and fractured his hip. When we tested his inflammation markers, his C-reactive protein was over 6 milligrams per liter, 3 times the normal level. Harold didn't need just physical therapy. He needed peace. He needed breathing space. He needed someone to remind him his body matters too. So if you've been quietly burning on the inside, please don't ignore it. Stress and inflammation may not show up on the bathroom scale, but they show up when you try to stand, walk, or remember a name. Here's your moment. Take one deep breath. Put your hand on your chest and say this to yourself: I matter too. In the next part, I'll show you 5 proven ways to lower inflammation without needing a single prescription. But first, tell me below, what's been your biggest source of stress lately? Your comment might help someone else feel less alone. Let's heal together because your brain deserves peace and your muscles deserve rest. Number 3, the brain-body diet. What to eat to protect your muscles and mind after 60. Let's talk about something you do every single day. You eat. But most people don't realize this. What you eat may determine how fast your brain shrinks and how much muscle you lose. It's not just about calories or portion size. It's about the chemical signals your food sends to your blood vessels, your nerves, your muscles, and even your memory. The food you eat either calms inflammation or fuels it, either heals your blood vessels or stiffens them, either nourishes your muscle tissue or breaks it down. So let's break down what your plate should actually look like if you want to protect both your muscles and your brain. First, you need anti-inflammatory foods because inflammation is the root of most chronic diseases, including Alzheimer's, stroke, diabetes, and sarcopenia. According to research from Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health, a diet rich in leafy greens, colorful vegetables, fruits, nuts, olive oil, and fatty fish is associated with lower levels of systemic inflammation and slower brain aging. Think of it this way: your plate should be mostly plants. At least 2/3 of your meal should come from things that grew from the ground. Add to that healthy fats, like omega-3s. Not only do they fight inflammation, but they also support nerve function and muscle cell membranes. The American Heart Association recommends eating fatty fish like salmon at least twice per week for this very reason. Now let's talk about fiber. Fiber helps feed your gut bacteria, and a healthy gut reduces inflammation throughout the entire body, including the brain. You should aim for at least 25 grams of fiber per day. That's about what you'd get from 5 cups of vegetables and 2 servings of whole grains. Next, protein. After age 60, your muscles need more protein to maintain their strength. Aim for at least 70 grams per day, spaced across 3 meals. That's roughly 20 to 25 grams per meal, coming from sources like eggs, beans, lentils, tofu, chicken, or fish. But just as important as what to eat is what not to eat. Processed sugar is the enemy of your brain. It spikes insulin, inflames blood vessels, and accelerates cognitive decline. The Journal of Neurology found that older adults who consumed more than 30 grams of added sugar per day had a significantly higher risk of memory loss. Refined carbs, white bread, pastries, processed cereals act just like sugar. They break down quickly, flood the bloodstream with glucose, and trigger inflammation. Replacing these with whole grains like quinoa, oats, or brown rice can dramatically improve your metabolic health. Red meats, especially processed ones like sausages or bacon, contain compounds linked to vascular damage and oxidative stress. Limit these to no more than once per week and focus more on plant-based or lean protein options. Finally, watch your salt. Too much sodium raises blood pressure, which damages the small vessels in your brain. Stick to less than 2,300 milligrams per day. That's about 1 teaspoon. Nutrition isn't about restriction. It's about intention. Every bite you take is either a step toward strength or a step toward decline. So here's my question for you. If you had to change just one thing in your diet this week, what would it be? Comment below and tell us your decision might inspire someone else. In the next section, we'll explore how simple movement, not exercise, but movement can keep your muscles alive and your brain young. Number 4, movement over muscles. How gentle daily motion can save your strength in your brain. Let me be very clear about something. You do not need a gym membership. You do not need fancy shoes. And you certainly do not need to run a marathon to protect your muscles and your brain. What you need is movement. Gentle, consistent movement. It could be as simple as standing up from a chair without using your hands, or walking from the living room to the mailbox and back, or gently rising on your toes 10 times while brushing your teeth. Because every time you move, even just a little, you send a signal to your brain that says, I still need these muscles. and your brain listens. In 2024, researchers at the Tufts Human Nutrition Research Center on Aging found that older adults who engaged in 10 to 15 minutes of low intensity movement every few hours had significantly more muscle mass and better memory performance compared to those who sat for long periods. Why does this matter? Because after age 60, if you don't use your muscles, you lose them. And with them, you lose balance, confidence, and independence. This condition has a name, sarcopenia. It means age-related muscle loss. It starts quietly and progresses every year. By age 70, up to 1 in 3 adults has sarcopenia. And once you've lost too much muscle, even small movements become risky, like getting out of bed, stepping into the shower, or walking on uneven ground. That's why movement isn't optional. It's essential. But here's the twist. It doesn't need to be exhausting. In fact, if it is, you're doing it wrong. Here's what I recommend. 5 minutes of chair stands every morning. Just sit and stand. Slowly and with control. Try for 10 repetitions. Standing heel raises while you wait for the microwave. That's 10 repetitions, twice a day. Arm circles for 30 seconds, 3 times a day. Gentle, pain-free, full range of motion. Walking indoors for at least 500 steps, that's just about 1/5 of a mile before lunch and before dinner. That's it. No machines, no sweat. Just signals to your brain and body that you still care about your strength. Here's the science behind it. Movement stimulates the release of brain-derived neurotrophic factor, or BDNF. Think of BDNF as fertilizer for your brain. It helps form new brain cells, repair damage, and strengthen the connection between brain and body. So yes, when you move your body, you grow your brain. And when you move consistently, you lower your risk of stroke, dementia, and even depression. Let me ask you this. What's one small movement you can add to your day starting now? Comment below and let me know. You don't have to run. You just have to rise. Because movement isn't punishment. It's your body's quiet celebration of life. And your muscles, they're not gone. They're just waiting to be invited back. Number 5, the gentle daily routine that rebuilds muscle and protects the brain after 60. Let's bring it all together. You've heard a lot by now about food, movement, sleep, stress, inflammation, small vessel health, muscle loss. It might feel like a lot to fix. But what if I told you, you don't need to fix everything? You just need to follow one calm rhythm every single day. Think of it like tuning a piano, not all at once, just one key at a time, until the whole thing begins to sing. Here's the simple, powerful daily routine I recommend, developed over decades of clinical experience and rooted in science from Harvard, Tufts, and the National Institute on Aging. Morning 6, 38, 0, mem. Wake slowly. Sit up, stretch your arms wide. Breathe deep. Drink a warm glass of water with a pinch of sea salt or a squeeze of lemon. Stand up and sit down 10 times without using your hands. This wakes up your leg muscles and your circulation. Eat a high-protein breakfast like scrambled eggs, avocado, or Greek yogurt with berries. Walk inside your home for at least 500 steps before sitting. Why this matters, it kickstarts muscle activity, blood flow to the brain, and your metabolism, all within the first hour of waking. Midday, 11:00 Imam 1 War Uropi. Eat a fiber-rich lunch, beans, whole grains, leafy greens. Take a 10-minute walk outside or around your home. Do gentle breathing, 4 seconds in, 4 hold, 6 out, 5 rounds. Why this matters: midday movement lowers cortisol, boosts digestion, and keeps muscles and brain cells alert. Afternoon 3, 005 mm. Snack on nuts or fruit. No processed sugar. Do one light activity: fold laundry, water plants, stretch your back. Avoid long periods of sitting. Stand every 30 minutes, even for just 1 minute. Why this matters: it prevents the body from slipping into disuse and signals the nervous system to stay active. Evening, 7 or 0, 9, mim. Eat a light dinner: soups, steamed vegetables, small portions of fish or legumes. No screens 1 hour before bed. Do 3 minutes of slow breathing while lying down. Go to bed at the same time, even on weekends. Why this matters: this calms the brain, lowers inflammation, and lets your muscles repair overnight. This is not a strict checklist. It's a rhythm, a kind one. A structure you can return to on days when you feel lost, tired, or discouraged. Even if you do just one thing on the list, you've already started healing. And with consistency, your brain will notice, your legs will get stronger, and your mornings will feel like mornings again. So let me ask, which part of this daily rhythm feels most doable to you today? Share it below. Let's keep each other inspired. In our final section, I'll share something even deeper, a message of hope, and a reminder that strength doesn't disappear with age. It returns when we learn how to listen. You've made it to the end of this journey, and I want to say something from the heart. If you're still watching, it means you care deeply, not just about living longer, but about living better, stronger legs, clearer thoughts, quieter mornings, a body that still responds, a brain that still remembers. It's not too late. It's never too late. As a doctor, I've seen too many people give up their strength, not because of disease, but because they were never shown another way. You've seen another way today. A rhythm of living. A set of choices that don't require perfection. Just presence. A warm breakfast. A slow breath. A few mindful steps. A little more listening to your body, to your needs, to your forgotten muscles. Because the body doesn't forget how to heal. It just forgets that you still care. But today, you remembered it. And that matters more than any prescription I could write. Now, I want to ask one last thing, not just for you, but for someone you love. Have you noticed someone close to you forgetting more often, losing track of conversations, repeating the same stories, or pulling away from things they used to enjoy? Sometimes it's not just aging. Sometimes it's the first whisper of Alzheimer's. In our next video, I'll gently walk you through 8 behaviors to pay attention to if you think someone you love might be showing signs of memory decline. It's not about labeling or diagnosing. It's about noticing. And noticing is the first step to helping, because just like the muscles, the brain sends signals long before it breaks down. If we know what to look for, we have a better chance of responding with grace, compassion, and care. So please, leave a comment below. What's one thing your body is telling you today that you've been ignoring? Your awareness today may help you or someone you love tomorrow. And if this video spoke to your heart, hit subscribe so we don't lose each other, because this channel isn't just about health. It's about coming home to yourself, one breath, one step and one kind choice at a time. I'll see you in the next video. 8 behaviors to take note of if you think someone might have Alzheimer's. Let's learn to see before it's too late to remember.